Slim Whitman, born as Otis Dewey Whitman Jr., was an American country music and Western music singer, songwriter and instrumentalist known for his yodeling abilities and his smooth high 3-octave range falsetto in a style christened as Countrypolitan. He stated that he had sold in excess of 120 million records. In the 1950s, Whitman toured with Elvis Presley. Although once known as America's favorite folk singer, he was consistently more popular throughout Europe, and in particular the United Kingdom, than in his native America, especially with his covers of pop standards, film songs, love songs, folk tunes and melodic gospel hymns. His 1955 hit single Rosemary spent 11 weeks at number 1 on the UK singles chart and held the Guinness World Record for the longest time at number 1 on the UK singles chart for 36 years until Bryan Adams broke the record in 1991 and was listed in British hit singles and albums. In the US is Indian Love Call, and a reworking of the Doris Day hit Secret Love, both reached number 2 on the Billboard Country chart. Whitman had a string of top 10 hits from the mid-1960s and into the 1970s and became known to a new generation of fans through television direct marketing in the 1980s. Throughout the 1990s and into the 21st century, he continued to tour extensively around the world and release new material. His last album, Twilight on the Trail, produced by his son Byron Whitman and was released in 2010, when Whitman was 87 years old. Biography: Whitman was born Otis Dewey Whitman Jr., in Tampa, Florida, on January 20, 1923. Growing up, he liked the country music of Jimmie Rodgers and the songs of Gene Autry, but he did not embark on a musical career of his own until the end of World War II, after he had served in the South Pacific with the United States Navy. Whilst aboard ship he would sing and entertain members aboard, in the event that the Capitol blocked his transfer to another ship, hence saving his life as the ship later sunk with no surviving hands. Whitman's early ambitions was to become either a boxer or a professional baseball player. Whitman, a self-taught left-handed guitarist, was right-handed, but he had lost almost all of the second finger on his left hand in an accident at a meat-packing plant we worked for. He worked odd jobs at a Tampa shipyard while developing a musical career, eventually performing with a band known as the Variety Rhythm Boys and the Light Crust Doughboys. He was briefly nicknamed the Smiling Star Duster, after a stint with a group called the Star Dusters. Whitman's first big break came when talent manager Colonel Thomas Parker heard him singing on the radio and offered to represent him. After signing with RCA Records, he was billed as the cowboy singer Slim Whitman, and released his first single Incomplete with Yodel I'm Casting My Lasso Towards the Sky in 1948. He toured and sang at a variety of venues, including on the radio show Louisiana Hayride. At first, he was not able to make a living from music and kept a part-time job as a post officer. That changed in the early 1950s after he recorded a version of the Bob Nolan hit love song of The Waterfall, which made it into the country music top 10. His next single, Indian Love Call, taken from the light operetta Rosemary, was even more successful, reaching number 2 in the country music charts and appearing in the pop music charts top 10 in the U.S. A yodeler, Whitman avoided the down-on-your-luck buried in booze songs, preferring instead to sing laid-back romantic melodies about simple life and love. Critics dubbed his style Countrypolitan, owing to its fusion of country music and a more sophisticated crooning vocal style. Although he recorded many country and western tunes, including hits Tumbling Tumbleweeds, Singing Hills and the Cattle Call love and romance songs, like Serenade, Something Beautiful, and Keep It a Secret figured prominently in his repertoire. In 1955 in the United Kingdom, he would have number 1 hit on the pop music charts with the theme song to the latter operetta Rosemary. With 19 weeks in the charts and 11 weeks at the top of the UK singles chart, the song set a record that lasted for 36 years. In 1956 he became the first ever country music singer to perform at the London Palladium. Soon after, Whitman was invited to join the Grand Ole Opry, and in 1957, along with other musical stars, he appeared in the film musical Jamboree. Despite this exposure, he never achieved the level of stardom in the United States that he did in Britain, where he had a number of other hits during the 1950s. Throughout the early 1970s, he continued to record and was a guest on Wolfman Jack's television show The Midnight Special. At the time, Whitman's recording efforts were yielding only minor hits in the US. The mid-1970s were a successful time for Whitman in the UK albums chart. In 1976, a compilation album, The Very Best of Slim Whitman, was number 1 for 6 weeks, staying 17 weeks on the chart. Another number 1 album followed in 1977 with Red River Valley. 4 weeks at number 1 and 14 weeks on the chart. Later the same year, his album Home on the Range made number 2 on the chart, amassing a chart stay of 13 weeks, only to be kept from the top place by 20 Golden Greats by the Supremes. The TV albums briefly made Whitman a household name in America for the first time in his career, resulting in everything from a first-time appearance on The Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson to Whitman being parodied in a comic skit on SCTV, with him starring in the Che-like male lead in an Evita-like Broadway musical on the life of Indira Gandhi. More importantly, the TV albums gave him a brief resurgence in mainstream country music, with new album releases on major labels and a few new singles making the country charts. During this time he toured Europe and Australia with moderate success. On January 20, 2008, coincidentally on what was Whitman's 85th birthday, a premature obituary believed to have been started by an erroneous report was published by the Nashville, Tennessean newspaper, which was later picked up virally on the newspaper's website. In 2010, after more than 8 years in production, Whitman released the album Twilight on the Trail, his first new studio album in 26 years. It was produced by his son Byron Whitman and featuring many well-known session musicians, including longtime band member Harold Bradley. Personal life: after 1957, Whitman lived at his estate, Woodpecker Paradise, in Middleburg, a city located south of Orange Park, Florida, in Clay County. In 2009, Whitman's wife of 67 years, Alma Geraldine Jerry Christ Whitman, born in Kansas, died at the age of 84. She was a songwriter and embroiderer, as well as the daughter of a church minister, A.D. Christ, founder of the Church of the Brethren. Whitman and his wife had a daughter, Sharon Beagle, and a son, Byron K. Whitman, who is also a performer and music producer who has released a number of recordings and who toured and recorded with his father on numerous occasions. They had 2 grandchildren and 2 great-grandchildren. Slim Whitman died of heart failure on June 19, 2013, at age 90, surrounded by family at Orange Park Medical Center in Orange Park, Florida. Honors: for his contribution to the recording industry, Slim Whitman was given the accolade of a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame at 1709 Vine Street. He was inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame and Museum's Walkway of Stars in 1968. Legacy: Beatle George Harrison cited Whitman as an early influence. The first person I ever saw playing a guitar was Slim Whitman, either a photo of him in a magazine or live on television. Guitars were definitely coming in. When a young Paul McCartney purchased his first guitar, the left-handed musician was unsure how to play an instrument that was manufactured and strung for a right-handed player. It was not until McCartney saw a picture of Whitman playing left-handed that he restrung his guitar so that he too could play left-handed. American pop singer Michael Jackson cited Whitman as one of his 10 favorite vocalists. The 1996 film Mars Attacks features Whitman's rendition of Indian Love Call as a weapon against alien invaders. In 2003, Rob Zombie used Whitman's version of I Remember You in his movie directorial debut in House of 1000 Corpses. Discography: Albums: The Songs I Love to Sing also peaked at number 24 on the RPM Country Albums chart in Canada. Singles: A Reminiscing peaked at number 4 on the RPM Adult Contemporary Tracks chart in Canada. B-sides: Soundtracks: Vice Euro Tennessee Waltz, House of 1000 Corpses Euro I Remember You, Mars Attacks. Euro Indian Love Call, Mars Attacks. Euro I'm Casting My Lasso Towards the Sky, Who'll Stop the Rain Euro I'll Step Down, Close Encounters of the Third Kind Euro Love Song of the Waterfall. Filmography: The Midnight Special TV, The Midnight Special TV, Jamboree. References. External links. Slim Whitman Lyrics, AllMusic Guide, Slim Whitman at the Internet Movie Database.